to the music scene, showing lots of love for the community with great advice. I know who I should go see. So around town radio show is where.
Hey, everybody. I'll see if I can make it through this half hour or so of great vocal strain. It's been a long weekend on The Voice, but we're going to make it happen here today. I've got some special guests with me, too. We're going to get right to it because we have a ton to talk about, and I'm trying to not hear myself. There we go. All right. Got some special guests. Co-chairs of Springfest in the Burg are going to join me. You notice the shirt I'm repping today. I got Dan and Devin Douglas joining me here. How you doing? What's going on?
Hi, Scott.
You guys all right?
Good. Yes. My voice is strained from cheering for everybody this weekend. I was not talking like you were, but I can relate.
Really? Here, let me fix that. There we go. Now we can see us. All right. Well, yeah, you had a long, not just a weekend, but this takes a year's worth of prep, and especially that week leading up is like insane. All the questions. I watched you even working on Friday. You were still, the phone was blowing up. The radios are blowing up. Everybody wants to know something. How do you guys do this? I mean, and you put so much sweat equity in it. What's your passion for it?
Yeah, thank you. We're going to our 2025 planning meeting after the show today. So it truly does take a year. I think that, Springfest is something we took over. This is our 6th year working on it now. It's something too, when it was the Spring Fling before, we were kids going to it growing up. We always loved it. And it's something that we took over, and it's really fun. It's good for the community. People have such a good time. And I think that just makes it really worth it.
Ton of smiling faces down there all weekend. And boy, weren't we blessed with some good weather.
Yes. Blazing hot.
Very hot.
Sun, yes.
It was hot.
Sunny, though.
Who would have expected 90-degree temperatures in the May month, but we'll take it. I'd take it over rain any day, or thunderstorms that put a real problem on those outdoor events, so to speak. So you had a carnival going on. You had craft vendors, tons of food. I mean, there was so much food, and it smelled. It was tough to be at the stage, let me tell you, for 3 days, and all those smells running through the air there as the wind would shift directions. Did they all do well for you? Everybody do well out there this weekend?
I think so. Yeah, we've been getting feedback today. We send out some forms. If you have any feedback for us, you can go on our website, on our About page. We have a comment box you can suggest as well. But from what I'm hearing, everybody did great. The new sod, the park opened 2 weeks ago, brand new sod. It was a little muddy because it rained on Friday. And I think that hurt, and I think it was really hot. But I still think despite that, everybody had a great time, sold a lot. There was a ton of people there. The rides were packed. A ton of food was eaten.
Yeah, Friday and Saturday night, we had so many people there. It was crazy busy. So
absolutely. And let me say this too, a big shout out to the city of Miamisburg. Their workers, they work so hard down there. And honestly, to get that park ready to open for this event. And then besides that, I think it held up fairly well with all the foot traffic and everything through there. The park is designed amazingly for this type of event. You could put those craft vendors around like you did around the walkways that are circular through the park, and it keeps people off the grass a lot, and that's a good thing. I think especially with it all being new grass, maybe you'll change your layout plan next year once everything's established, but it's just such a great community event. And it's 8-month-olds to 80-year-olds there. I mean, it's just a whole bunch of people.
How old are Betty and Barb though? I think they might be past 80s. I'm not sure.
Betty and Barb with the urn were just fantastic on Friday.
Love them.
for the urn.
Oh my gosh,
Yes,
that was
hilarious.
so iconic.
If you don't know it, this lady's TikTok famous, and she has her urn that she carries everywhere that she's going to be placed in someday, she says. And she was showing it to me. It's very beautiful, and she wants a beautiful place to be put to rest, she said to me. And I thought, wow, and she carries it everywhere, makes videos, and she was a dancer. Man, what a dancer.
Love it.
It was so cool. It was. Hi, Toy Hobbs from Rockstar. Thank you. We'll talk about you in a minute. Said they had a blast. Who else is on here with me today? Well, I'm trying to see Barry Taylor. Thank you, Chris Reese, Kara, Heather, Edward Sawicki. Thank you for being here. Steve Stein's in the house. Man, I got to give props to that guy.
Steve Stein.
He's the hardest working man in show business.
Yes, I agree.
He really is. He is a great guy. And man, we could not have done that without Steve Stein this weekend on that stage. He worked like an absolute champ. There's a lot of young people could learn from Steve. And we joked about being old up there doing all this work, but it worked. You know, it was really, really a good weekend. And we're going to focus on music. But what else do you have to say? Anybody you want to thank or anything before we get into the music portion of this weekend?
I definitely want to thank our sponsors. The Miamisburg Moose was a great sponsor for us. Jane's on Main, Bennett's, Good Time Charlie's, everybody who sponsored us. Alta Fiber sponsored our stage. Miamisburg Merchants Association sponsored our side stage. Everybody who made this happen and came out and had fun. We're just so appreciative of how it turned out, which was so good.
Well, let's recap this business. We kicked it off on Friday night with the national anthem being sung by Miss Diamond Coleman. She's Miss Gym City, and she always does a beautiful job. And what a personality she has. Beautiful young lady.
Yes, I love Diamond. She's been with us. It's her third year. She keeps winning titles, so we bring her back.
Whatever the title's called, I have to change it up every year, but she's got a new title, and I love it. And she's in that Miss America group and playing in those pageants and doing all those things. So hats off to her. She's a beautiful young lady and very intelligent. Has been receiving scholarships for what she's doing. And again, just a superior job. Then you guys were up there with me, and the mayor of Miamisburg, Michelle Collins, was up there and did a nice little presentation for a check presentation. Can we talk about that for a second?
Sure. So a lot of people don't know that SpringFest is a nonprofit, although we talk about it a lot. So we've worked on a lot of projects over the year. Surely our biggest one is the Riverfront Park renovations. We really wanted to invest into Miamisburg because this park is our home for SpringFest and super important. So we did pledge $75,000 to the Miamisburg Community Foundation for the park. And so we presented that on stage to the mayor as a what?
And it's gonna our contribution is the swings that overlook the river. It's the river overlooks, SpringFest river overlooks. So that's very exciting. Everyone seemed to have been enjoying those all weekend.
Yeah, and they did. I mean, they were full the entire weekend. All the seating areas were, and the park was just wonderful. And that new stage. We're going to talk about music. And let me tell you, I work a lot of these events, as I've told you before on the show. But this one, the stage was done right. It was a pleasure to work on that stage. The area to load in is easy for bands, which is very important. The amount of electric we had and everything we needed. And before we even start, let me mention Twilight Sound and Lighting. Mike Coons got Mongo, Steve Stein helping, and several others there. That were just off the hook great.
Mike's on there. I just saw him say hi and got a shout out to Mike. Thank you so much. This man is the most chill man ever. Nothing rattles him. I wish I was like that. I get rattled so easy and I want things to go perfect and feel well. And so I just felt super secure having you guys taking care of everything. And I just felt like it went so perfect.
Yeah, you guys
it was great. Go ahead, Dan.
And that was one of the things that I kept hearing throughout the weekend was that the music and the sound and all the guys on the stage were like very good.
Phenomenal. Yeah.
So that's really awesome to hear.
Party Punch said our sound. They posted that the sound was amazing. And that's
huge.
Yeah. Their band's huge. Their sound's huge. What they do is a big deal.
They put out a big sound.
We appreciate
so that's
that.
awesome.
And they have a lot of moving parts on stage that have to be well oiled and done right. And there's no better than Mike. Mike does a superior job. And like you said, nothing rattles the guy. And I love that about him. He can just, if there's a problem, it gets fixed. Mm-hmm. And, we had a speaker overheat actually on Saturday night and do a little turn off, and he had it fixed in no time. So, that's the cool part about it. And no pun intended, the cool part, because it got hot on Saturday. But let's get into this musical lineup, and we'll mention some other things as we go. I need to say hi to Rachel. Rachel, good to see you this weekend. Thanks for showing up at SpringFest. Hi, Bill Marks. Hope your Oakley Beer Fest event in Cincinnati went stellar. It looked like it. The pictures ditch. Mike, thank you so much. Tom's in the house. Good to have you with us. We've got, gosh, look at all these people. Gary Ridgway's here. He's saying you guys did a great job. Thank you, Gary.
Got the
We're,
fans.
we're going to talk about him.
Hi,
And
Gary.
Gina McCann is here. And boy, we're going to talk about her voice too. Amazing. Hi, Chris Reese. That stage is amazing, Chris Reese. You need to come see it. It is. It's a really cool venue. And let's kick it off, Devin, with Gerlach and Clemens and Dan. They kicked off the whole festival musically on Friday night as the opener to our Party Punch band that was the headliner. They were sponsored by Good Time Charlie's, and thank you to that. They've been, playing out a lot. You see them play a lot. They've been together a couple years, and just a great way to open the festival there on the side stage, which was sponsored by the Miamisburg Merchants Association, which you got to give them a shout out as well. So if you have anything on any of these, I'm going to run through them, jump in there. I want to know what your guys' thoughts were because I know most of these people and I love them.
Yeah.
You had a great lineup this year.
Everyone was a banger, I have to say.
I knew you were going to say it. We want to make sure that everybody gets their punch, or so to speak, as we move into Party Punch, but that everybody gets a little bit of what they want. And there was such a great variety of music. We had country, we had rock, we had the party band, Party Punch. I mean, it was playing all your 90s favorite dance hits and things like that, and many, many more. And Chris said Party Punch has a great show. They sure do. Mm-hmm. And they wow the crowd. I mean, when you've got little girls dancing on the steps of the stage there that were 3 and 4 years old, and then you look out and our two ladies are out there dancing at well over 80. It was a party, and Brandon knows how to lead a crowd there as Party Punch does. Thanks, Gerlach and Clemens, though. Great job kicking it off there. And Party Punch brought to you on Friday night by Jane's on Main. She's a staple of the festival and sponsorship, and great business there in Miamisburg. She has live music all the time. Several of the artists that we had play at her place. And wow, what'd you think of Party Punch this year? This second year for them.
Yes, man. And I just got to say to Jane, too. Jane's on Main night. She always sponsors Friday, and she's wonderful. And she planned our after party on Sunday, and it was so appreciated. We had dinner and just love Jane. So she loves Party Punch. She was like, I want this band. So we put them there. I love Party Punch, too. Anytime I can put down my radio and listen to Brandon and his band, it's so fun. It was so fun.
Yeah, I also feel like sorry, Scott. I feel like I need to say that Jane and Bennett's support is like a fundamental pillar to us even being able to put this on. Their support throughout the year is phenomenal.
Yeah.
They're great people, and I had a chance to talk to them several times over the weekend. They're just super supporters of Miamisburg. And, Bennett was telling me they were saying that they have 70 employees now. They're so busy. Wow. That's a lot of people working, and they're putting them to work, and they're making money. And, it's good to hear in Miamisburg that Miamisburg's downtown is thriving like it is because there's so much to do down there. And they're getting ready to have some other parties and things. So, tune into Miamisburg and what's going on there, because there's parties in the street, there's parties in the park all year long, not just Springfest. And I got to give a shout out to B Shuts, Magic Mike, gym membership, Mbop Seth on the drums, and B Harv from Party Punch. These guys are easy to work with. They're fantastic people, and just love them, man. I can't say enough about them. They put on one of the best shows you could want at a festival like that, because it appeals to everyone.
Yeah.
Don't you think? I mean, it does.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm looking at comments. Go ahead, guys.
It was awesome. Yeah, they're great. They're so fun. They're the nicest. They're easy. I don't know. I can't say enough good things. I wish that I could have stood there the whole time.
Yeah, the crowd loves them.
We did get a comment on my vendor feedback form day. Somebody said we should have Party Punch both days.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? It's a suggestion.
No, I think some people really love them. They love the atmosphere of it. And thank you, Gary. You did get to see that 80s wig on Sunday, didn't you? I thought I'd sneak that past some of you guys that might use that against me, but thanks, Gary. We're going to talk about Gary's band, Overdrive, that was there too, and they were another one that I just was wowed by in the crowd response to them, and we'll hit on that. And let me look here. Toy went over on a suggestion to Ron's Pizza afterwards, after Sunday, and had some Ron's Pizza. Said it was excellent. Yeah, what was that?
That's my cat.
No, I just saw a flash there. Wow, I thought.
Yeah, sorry.
Dan had my wig for a minute. All right.
Ron's is a supporter as well. They're wonderful, and we work with Caroline over there. She's one of our vendors. I did went and got a Cody's Island from their Dora stand, and that was great for Saturday.
Well, let's move on to our next act on that started out the day. And was it, hold on, I may have this out of order. I probably do. Hold on. Stand by. Who started our Saturday? Go ahead. Huh? Do you remember?
It was Benny Hill.
Yeah. Where's Benny Hill? I had him here. Did I just pick him up by accident? Well, Benny Hill kicked it off as a solo performer on the acoustic stage, and Benny Hill has an amazing voice.
Yeah.
He's just one of those guys. I found it, by the way. But before we talk about Benny Hill music-wise, I want to talk about Vicky Joe.
Oh, yeah. Wonderful.
Her dancers. You talk about a way to start a festival on a day like that. The parade's over. Everybody's been in the parade. All these guys and girls come over to dance on the stage. Their parents descend upon the audience. It is an electric moment to get that started with. And Sierra, the director at Vicky Joe, is one of the nicest people I've ever worked with that kind of group, because that is literally like herding cats.
Yeah.
To get them on stage, get them on right. And she runs it like, well, she's done it for years. Vicky Joe's been in business in Miamisburg for how long? Like 60 plus years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And she bought it from Vicky. Is that who it was that owned it? Or
yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and so she's carrying on a tradition, but they descend upon you. We've got pictures of it. The dance dads show up with all the props, and man, it's a well-oiled machine, let me tell you. And I love those little girls and guys' faces when they're up there dancing and smiling and doing their thing. They're just a pleasure to have in the house, and that's how we kick our day off every time on Saturday. And then Jeannie Moreland's studio came up with more dancers. She has some smaller ones as well, which are a big hit with the audience.
Yeah, and they have their little costumes. Yeah. They're adorable.
They take a lot more directing than the Vicky Joe girls do. Most of them that are out there, and guys, they're pretty much polished on their act. But some of those little girls, it takes a lot of work to get them in line, let alone get them to do the right hand movements and all the things they're doing. It's just so cute. It's an amazing thing. And then we kick off music with my gosh, Benny Hill. What do you think about Benny Hill?
Love Benny Hill. I have heard so much about him. I talked to Jane a lot about music, and she definitely was like, she books him. She was like, you have to get Benny Hill. And when he was available, I was so happy. So I thought he was perfect for a Saturday afternoon.
And, Benny Hill's only been playing out for about a year and a half, and he sounds like he's played for 50 years. I mean, he's younger than that, but just a superior musician, a super nice guy. And you can find him, Benny Hill Music, on Facebook if you want to look for him. And please do, guys, like all these people we're talking about. And we appreciate you being here today. I'm looking at everybody dropping in. Patrick O'Neill, Robert Dwayne Russell, Brian Middendorf, thank you. Patricia Hall, thanks. No relation, Patricia. Corona Buffett in the house, and Wild Bill Video is here too. Thank you so much. So if you have a comment about Springfest, we'd love to hear from you guys. And let's move on to Ben and Pete. You know them. You know them.
Yep.
The besties. We love Ben and Pete. They're teachers in Miamisburg, which is so fun. The music they play is just like, they do like 50s to current music. They'll sing Lizzo and they sing, Elton John. So I just think they're always fun. They're always a good time. They're nice.
I call them a sing-along band. Everybody sings every word to their songs. Yeah. I mean, it's one of those, and it's a party. 12 years they've been together.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I didn't know.
They started as a talent show at the school, and they dress up like bees. So I am starting a petition. Bring back the bee costumes.
Oh, my gosh.
I love it. So Ben and Pete, thank you so much. You can find them at Ben and Pete on Facebook as well. And again, another great group. They play throughout the Miamisburg area quite a bit. And they're so nice, too. And, we talk. My granddaughter actually has been as an art teacher in Miamisburg. So that's kind of cool. We talk about that a little bit, and that's fun. And then we moved on to one of our favorites, Tessa Marie.
I love Tessa Marie. It's Taylor Swift of the Dayton area, she's so beautiful. She's so talented. Her voice is so good. She plays Taylor Swift for me, which I love. And she's so sweet.
She is the entire package, let me tell you. Because what makes a musician too is their personality off the stage, and she is a genuinely good person and a pleasure to be around. I love her. I love her music. I love her voice. just everything about her. And she's just one of those that brightens a room anytime she's in it. So if you get a chance to see her, that's Tessa Marie Music on Facebook. Check her out. And Tessa, if you're out there watching afterwards, thanks for being there. And there's Ben Davis in the house.
Hi, Ben.
From Ben and Pete. Thank you, Ben. Great show over the weekend. Heather Matthews is here. I got to give a shout out to her too. What a hard worker you guys have in her.
Yes, man, Heather, she started, it's crazy. She just volunteered the first year, just showed up and helped us. And she stayed the entire weekend. And I said, you're joining the committee. And she's been in the committee ever since. And we're such close friends. We could not do this without Heather for sure.
Can I join the committee?
Yeah. You're basically on it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm on the entertainment side of it, but can I join the committee? Because I'm 60, so we could.
No, you have to be 12. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. All right. Dang, I was hoping to get in there. Let's talk about the next band. Thank you, Tessa. We love you, by the way. Let's hit on some friends of mine here. The Gina and Johnny band.
Yeah. Spectacular.
You think I can? Well, I probably shouldn't say dirty words, but I look out in the audience when she starts to sing, and there was a whole lot of holy S words out of people's mouths, including Jane from Jane's on Main. I looked over at her, and she's like,
she was amazing.
Yeah.
I had never seen them play before, so we appreciated the recommendation. So we look at people's social medias and things like that, but just seeing her in person it blows you out of the water.
Yeah, it is. They are a stellar group. Johnny Fink has won multi awards. I mean, he's been to the actual international, the World Blues Challenge in Memphis, Tennessee, and played in it. Wow. And as a competitor, he's won the Cincinnati Blues Challenge many times. Gina is one of the nicest people too you'll ever meet. And this little package walks out on stage in her bell bottoms and looking like she's coming off the bus in the 60s. And that fiery red hair hits the stage and she opens that mouth and it just blows everybody away. I said they're going to have to repair the roof of the new event center there because she just tore it off. And people were just amazed by her. They wanted more and more of them. And they played in the heat of the day too. So hats off to them. Anybody that played after 3:00, you guys, man, I had a stage clock up there that has a temperature gauge in it. And at one point we were at 100 degrees on the stage. That's hot. And we had a lot of fans going, but that doesn't always help. So really a good show. Gina and Johnny, it's a bluesy, raspy. I got to give Gina a shout out. I always say she has a voice like butter sprinkled with cayenne pepper. It's got that rough edge to it, and people love them. So wonderful stuff. And David Thornton says they were fantastic. Yes, David, you're spot on that one. And I'm sure any musician that's on play would just wowed. And the rest of the band also just superior guys that are in that band always. And they play at times with Johnny Fink as well and his band, The Intrusion. So what's Mike got to say here? Let's see what it says. Said you all did a wonderful job. Thank you, Mike. And I get accused sometimes of being the clock Nazi or whatever up there, but it's so important that people who show up to see somebody that's on the bill at a certain time get to see them. And I want to try to keep to that. I mean, if you're 5 minutes off or hear that, people don't care. But if every act is 5 minutes off, by the end of the day, the last act's getting cut 35 minutes for shutdown time or something. It's just not fair to them. So there's a lot that goes into this, and couldn't have done it without you, Mike. Mike, you made transitions between bands so easy, and that's what counts too. These guys are pros. I knew when we talked about him, Devin, that he would come in and he would just sweep the floor with everything. He'd make it happen. Yeah. And Mike, you're a great dude, man. You're fun to work with. I enjoyed it all weekend long, even though nobody wanted to be around us yesterday after we loaded out. I can tell you that we needed a shower bad.
Yes,
it was after 3 days of that, and not that I didn't shower for 3 days, but you know what I'm saying. It was hot yesterday. We were done. I would have loved to come to Jane's, but you didn't want me there. The way I smelled in the
we were all sweaty.
Oh,
yeah. You would have fit in.
Yeah.
I just want to say too, I'm not a professional, and I made this lineup for music without any regard to technical needs, and you guys made it happen, and I really appreciate that. And
you gave us a lofty goal a couple times with changeovers, I'll tell you that. And
I say stop.
Some musicians go into Panicville too over it. They'll be like, oh, I can't set up in that time, but
they did.
Trust us. Trust
Next
us.
year,
It
I'll ask
happens.
you what to do, but it happens.
Trust us. It happens. So thank you, Gina and Johnny. I got to move on here. We're running out of time. I got to get a lot of people in. David Thornton next up on Saturday.
Bestie.
David Thornton.
Always amazing.
Mhm.
Everybody's wowed by his guitar skills, but his vocals are great too. And I mean, David, and I always say he plays that looper pedal and all that, but he doesn't overdo it. It is just, it's perfect. It's like you're standing there listening to a full band, but David is up there singing, and he killed it as well. I can't say enough about this guy. I wish I could go see him more. He's at Jane's on Main every Thursday hosting the open mic jam night there, all that. So
We'll be
go
there.
see David, man.
Yeah, he's a very talented musician, and his, like you were saying, his loop stuff. I've never seen anyone do anything like that. It's really something special.
It's an art. It is. It's an art, and he's an artist, and that is all I can say about him. He's one of those guys. And thank you, Louisa, for that. You worked your butt off too this weekend. Thank you for that. And David Thornton knows his guitar. He does, and he teaches lessons at Lester's Rock and Roll Shop too. So if you want to take a lesson from a guy that's absolutely a superior player, that go see David Thornton.
And I took lessons. He's a very patient teacher. Trust me.
That's what he'd have to be with me too, Dan. Very patient. My problem is practice time. I wouldn't do the practice time. Probably he'd be mad at me.
Oh, yeah, sounds familiar.
Yep.
So Eric Girardi was the headliner on Saturday night.
Awesome.
Hotter than HE double toothpicks up there. It was hot. And Eric, while he was setting up, was just pouring the sweat off of him. And Eric tours nationally. He brought a great band. Adam Wheeler on drums. Oh my God, Gary Gates on bass. Scotty Houchins on keyboard. You don't get any better than that. You guys, when you booked Eric, or you didn't book Eric, actually, the city booked Eric because he had some friends who donated to the stage, and all that stage and the naming rights and all that were from a donation to an unfortunate lady that passed away. And those are the
Louise Epperson Foundation. Her husband, Daniel Epperson, donated the Ginkgo stage. It's in her honor. And so we collaborated with the city and with the Eppersons to put on, this is the biggest event in the park. It's the first event, and it's the biggest. And so they were friends with Eric Girardi, and they said they would really appreciate if he could play at our event. And we looked him up, and of course we said absolutely. So I think it was just a perfect partnership, and that's something we collaborated on. I hope that we lived up to her honor. I thought it turned out great.
And Eric hit a home run over the river. I mean, he hit a home run that night. He had a crowd there that loved him, and he was great. And the rest of the band, I mean, they're just wonderful people and musicians. And for a group that a lot of those guys tour nationally and everything else, they were so easy to work with. We didn't have any divas all weekend. And that's what's cool about it is, everybody realizes we've got a mission. We got to make it happen. And those guys knew, and we were spot on time with him coming on. And the changeover was quick, and they made it happen. And so hats off to Eric Girardi. He's a stellar player. And gosh, he's been doing this 35 years, so he ought to know what he's doing, huh?
Yeah, you could tell.
You think? And Eric Girardi Band on the web, by the way, if you want to follow him, he doesn't have a real big social media presence, but he's on the web at Eric Girardi Band. And Adam Wheeler, the drummer, is in another project I got to give a shout out to as well. It's called Genesis Retouched, and I got a chance to see their debut performance in Cincinnati. And this is if you like Phil Collins' side of Genesis, it is fantastic. So check that out as well if you will. So let's kick it over. Thank you, Sean Cooper. He's from Milano's. He said David Thornton is awesome. Yes, he is. Sean's the PMGM at Milano's and books all the musical acts
We
there.
love Milano's. I live right next to it.
Yeah, well, go say hi to Sean next time you're in. He's the manager there at night, if you don't know.
Okay, Sean, remember us.
All right. Finding Melissa, kicking it off
my
on
God.
Sunday.
Yes.
Can we say anything other than OMG?
Oh my God. Yeah. They were somebody I actually had some time. I watched, I think, almost their whole set. They were amazing. Amazing. Jane was standing with me. They're booked at Jane's. I cannot wait to see them again.
They did a rendition of Crazy Train that was amazing.
You like that one?
I love that.
Yeah,
Every
they
single-
strip songs down. It's like they strip it down and they make it raw and slow and emotional. And the two young ladies, I always say they should be sisters. They sing like sisters. I mean,
Yes, they do.
So
Right.
Me and Luisa's comedy team, we were standing there the whole time. every single song, I was like, I love this song, and it was so beautiful. Oh my God, it was so good. It made me cry. I want to cry. I think they did. I think it's Martina McBride. That was making me cry. It's just
Well, Kenny that plays guitar, Ken, as we'll call him, Ken, on guitar. I was at a show one day and they sang so beautifully that I look back and he's got tears running down his face and he's like,
so
and
good.
we were joking. I said when they were done, I said, "You need a hug, Ken," because he was just like, he got real emotional. But Missy, as she's known her, Melissa, we found her and she was there. And Stephanie Sutherland, who's the other female vocalist, she plays in White Knuckle Weekend, and you can find them at Finding Melissa on Facebook. Follow them, go see them. It is not a band that's going to play your music to get up and party to all night and woohoo and all that. This is a technically great vocal band, and Ken on the guitar is great as well. So enjoy it. And what's Brandon saying? Ken Stapleton is his guitar teacher. There you go. Finding Melissa is. They're the real deal. And I will promote them everywhere I go, because I told Melissa one night, I said, "You're one of my new favorite bands," and I love them. I love going to see them play. It's a chill evening, but yet you hear all these variations of songs. So thank you to a 3-piece act for kicking it off on Sunday. Great way to kick it off.
Yeah, they were.
The thing we got to do, though, is get people out of bed on Sunday, and we need a bigger crowd there.
Yeah.
I know people go to church and all that, and some of them are worn out from Saturday because they've spent the whole day there. But come on down on Sundays. We have a great lineup every year on Sunday. And that first act at noon, we just need to get some folks in the seats. I mean, they had a good crowd that loved them, but it just wasn't what we wanted. We'd like to see it full all day long. That would be the priority. What else we got there? Let's see who else is coming up. I'm looking at comments. Louisa said Ken's a great guitarist. He is. He's amazing. And Steve finally got to see him too. He's been hearing me talk about him. He said that to me backstage. He's like, "Man, I'm glad I got to see him." It's a wow factor with those three. And then, how about Sarah Horseman?
Love
Broken
Sarah.
Wing. I asked her if she was going to sing that song.
That's funny. She made it work. Yeah, she showed, and she said too, she's had to cancel some gigs, and she said, "I wanted to make this work," and she showed up for us, and she did amazing. I appreciate her.
Right. And and she teaches in Miamisburg, physical education. She teaches at 2 different elementary schools, which is cool. And Phil Holbrook joined her on guitar, and he was very good. And she sang, and her vocals. I didn't get a chance to listen to her last year as much. This year I did, and she's really good.
Yeah,
really good.
That's why I brought her back. She's a banger, so we have to have her.
Got to have bangers. That's right. And you can find her at Sarah Horseman on Facebook as well if you want to check her out. Then we had, and this one brought a crowd, I will say. This next band up, they're a Miamisburg Moose favorite. I know when they play there, the Moose is packed. And thanks to the Moose for being the presenting sponsor. We could not have done it without them as well. And the Moose Lodge, when they have them, and they play other locations in the area, of course, but Overdrive, this band's tight. And they played a variety of music that you didn't hear all weekend long. So I like that. A lot of songs that people are familiar with, yet they're not overplayed, and I think that's a cool thing. A lot of guys in the band, a lot of talk about them. I'm coughing here, so go ahead.
Yeah, you're fine. No, and we love Gary Ridgway. He's always at Jane's with us, so we know him decently well. He's wonderful to work with. We love Overdrive. The first time I saw them, I was just like, wow, I have to get these guys here. And we try to get a lot of different like genres, variety, something for everybody, So I was really glad they could make it this year. And that was one of the tough changeovers that I booked that you guys made happen. And I appreciate it.
Well, and there's a little, sometimes people show up and I'll say it. I mean, it was funny because Rick and I get along really well. He's the drummer, and the drummers are always the one that take the longest because they have the biggest setup. It's in the band business. And Rick kind of says, he said, "We only get a half hour to do our thing." I said, "Yeah, we got to make it happen." He goes, "It ain't going to happen." I said, "Well, you watch us." And really, they got on a few minutes late, but it wasn't too late at all. And it was just a remarkable show with them. I love those guys. I got to say, I do it every time Gary plays. It's all about the fiddle, though. Yeah. It's all about the fiddle.
For sure. I mean,
we love the fiddle.
And it's unique, and it's, you don't see it all the time. So he's awesome.
Right. And they, and it was funny. They were going to do their final song, and a friend of ours, Rachel, who's on here now, was standing there, and I looked over at her, and He said, we're going to do one more here. And I said, you can't be a band with a fiddle in it without playing Devil Went Down to Georgia.
Oh,
That's how they closed the show. And it was a banger. Trust me when we said that. And we love Overdrive. I mean, they're just a great band. I go see them at the Moose whenever I can. I mean, it's just a fun night of really good music that you're familiar with. And a lot of good guys in that band, a lot of talent. They rolled in with a lot of gear, and they knew what they were doing. Lead singer's amazing. And so it's Rick on drums, Mark on guitar, Gary on the fiddle, Tommy on guitar and vocals, and Dave on bass. And thank you guys so much. That's Overdrive Band. Is it Overdrive Band Ohio, I think, on Facebook? I don't know. I made chicken scratchings there on my sheet. But see, we had all these sheets for every band that I filled out, and it helps, but when I'm writing at 100 miles an hour, it doesn't help. All right, we got to wrap up. We got 2 more to talk about. Let's hit on Lindsay Ellen and the Trackhounds.
Mm-hmm.
Another one that's a Berg favorite.
Yeah, her voice is phenomenal. She played another benefit that I planned last year, and after I heard her at that one, I really wanted to book her again for Springfest. Her and her band, they're just great and fun, and she's so like small and tiny. You don't expect her voice to be that big.
Yeah, we always get that feedback that's like the voice that she gives is not what you're really expecting, but she's so good.
She's awesome.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's just another little tiny package like Gina McCann gets up there and just wails on that microphone. And she had a couple guys with her, the Trackhounds as they're known, Tony and Brandon. They do a great job.
Yeah.
Brandon on percussion, Tony on guitar, and as a 3-piece, they're powerful. They're very powerful, and we enjoyed hearing them play. And I wish they had more time. And that was another one that people wanted more. And so we leave you wanting more just so you go see them somewhere else. How's that?
They're around.
And go check them out. Lindsay Ellen and the Trackhounds on the Book of Face if you want to find them. And then, not that I was counting down, but the last act of Sunday.
Yeah, it was a long weekend.
But you know why it was a long weekend? Because it was so great.
Yeah.
It wasn't one of those where it's a long weekend because we're dragging and standing under a tent because it's pouring rain or whatever and nobody's there. It was a great weather weekend. And our friends from Rockstar brought it Sunday.
So fun. And that's what we wanted for Sunday. We did Sunday Fun Day by Bennett's, and we said, what will be fun? Dress up for the 80s people like that. I'm not from the 80s. You guys know that, but I loved it still.
You weren't even born in the 80s. Right?
I think there are some festivals that kind of like do a fizzle on Sunday, but not us, man. We like to go out with a bang. And Rockstar really, really hit that high note at the end. That was awesome.
Well, Sunday Fun Day brought to you by Bennett's. I mean, it was. And Bennett's is a huge supporter, so we got to give them a shout out. But what's Patricia say? Rockstar is one of her new faves. Thank you, Patricia. And they're out of Cincinnati, guys. And let me tell you, they have stage names. All right, stage names. So let me make sure I get their stage names right. We've got George Ironore on the drums, and George and I go way back, and I got to laugh when he puts that wig on. I just crack up because I always tell him he looks like a cross if Carrot Top and Spicoli from Fast Times at Ridgemont High had a baby. That's what they would have had. And he's just a funny guy. He's a great guy to hang around. And he set his drum kit up in no time. I mean, he was lightning fast. He had it all put together in the back. Changeover happened. Boom, it was done. Ricky Stars on guitar and keyboard. I idolize him because he has the blonde wig like I wore out to introduce them. And then we had Troy Wolf, guitar and vocals. Troy, great guy. Rick Raven on bass, and Amy Glitz, who's not been with the band that long, but Amy, she killed it.
Yeah, they were awesome.
She did a great job. And it was hot Sunday. It was, I mean, those guys wearing wigs. I mean, Amy she had a real hair.
Oh, yeah. It was I don't know.
There's Rick right now. How you doing, Rick?
Hi, Rick.
Yes.
Toy Hobbs is already such a good name. I can't believe he uses a stage name.
Yeah, I thought the same thing.
Right. That's you were blessed with a great name.
He was. And yeah, I've got to say this band is one of my favorites too, because I love that era of music. And what was neat, I don't know if you noticed, if you were over there then at all, or if you guys were busy, but when you look out in the audience, there were some people that obviously have been taking care of the adult beverages for the day, checking inventory on it or whatever. But they were singing every word. They were woohooing. They were dancing. And the whole crowd is mouthing every word to the songs. So people love the 80s, and they love the 80s dance and the 80s party. And these guys just absolutely bring it. And one thing about them is they're not playing tracks.
No.
A lot of these bands that go out and play, they're playing to a track. And I'm not dogging on them that do, because the 80s songs are tough. They have a lot of harmonies, layered harmonies that were in the albums and things like that you can't reproduce on stage. So I get it. But they get out there. It's raw. It's played. When Toy does the guitar solos, he's playing them.
Yeah.
And he's killing them. And it was just a great show. And I know they were exhausted at the end because they're wearing all the headgear and stuff. And I did it for 30 seconds at the beginning and a couple of minutes at the end, and that was it. I couldn't handle it. So they had to be dying while in those wigs. Thank you, Patricia. Yeah, I agree. So Devin and Dan, as a recap here, we're about out of here. Great weekend. Next year's dates.
May 16th to the 18th, 2025. We'll be back in the park.
Well, I'll be there if you'll have me.
Great festival, Scott.
Thank you.
Great festival, Scott.
Hold on. Is Dan on here? I'm trying to find Dan. I've covered you up, Dan. Hold on.
No.
Dan is actually in my board right here.
Great question, Scott.
Thank you, Dan. It's always good to have you with us.
Yeah, you're required to come back. You can't leave us, okay?
All right. Well, I hope so. And thank you, Heather. I appreciate you as well. You guys, your whole team is just amazingly great people. And shout out to the ladies who sold the 50-50 raffle tickets, Louisa and Jessica and several others. Over $5,000 in tickets.
Awesome.
That was great. Did we get hold of the winner?
Yep, he's coming to Jane's tonight to meet us. He won. He's excited.
Good. Who is it again? Do we remember?
Tony Hess. Congrats to you.
Yeah, Tony, give a little bit of that back to the festival. If you want. That's what people do sometimes.
Sometimes.
Or pay it forward, Tony. Pay it forward to somebody. And lots going on in Miamisburg. You guys are just absolutely moving and shaking down there. You do so much. And I know you're going to plan tonight for the next one. I'm probably making you late to your planning meeting.
That's okay. Heather's on the fort for us.
Heather will get it. and enjoy that, guys. And please remember, folks, it takes an absolute huge amount of time and effort to put one of these festivals on. Just our side, the music side, is a lot of work. The other side, the coordination, the trash, you name it, there's so much that goes into it. Security, this, that, and the other. 12 separated kids from their parents on Saturday alone. I mean, that's in itself is amazing to me that, we're having to do some of that. You guys do all this. Sometimes you take a little crap online from people who, for some reason, want to sit behind the keyboard and say bad things about things. So all I can say to those people is step up to the plate, join the team, come help, and see that it takes a lot of work.
Sure.
And you'll see. And after you've carried trash bags or you've ran the beer tent all day long in the heat, you'll see that it takes work. It's easier to sit behind a keyboard. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to end on a too negative note with that. But Toy, thank you for saying that, man. I was so blessed to have you guys there, and had some real great bands this weekend. And Mike Coons again, Twilight Sound and Lighting, Mike Mongo, gosh.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Steve, everybody, thank you. The stage went seamless all weekend long. So thank you, Gina. Thank you. Big round of applause for Springfest in the Berg, everybody. Can we get one? Will you guys give it a round of applause? Come on. I'm trying to stall here to find something. I can't find it. So there we go.
Everyone just
that's all we got.
House for us.
Perfect entertainment all weekend. Louisa said, thank you. Woo. Woo.
We have it.
Totally worth it. I posted that on my personal page today. Even though my feet today are telling me I shouldn't have done all 3 days, it's well worth it. Thanks for being here, Dan and Devin. You guys are always so much fun and a pleasure to have on the show. We'll see you next time, okay?
All right, bye.
Good night, everybody. Tune in tomorrow, Hot Topic Tuesday with Karis and Scott. You don't want to miss that one. It's Joy and Judgment. I'm the joy. She's the judgment. That's right, Karis. See you guys. If I can get my board to work, we're out of here. Heather's a great cheerleader. I love her.
Yeah.
A show.